What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely gonna want to check this one out. So we're finally seeing action being taken against these rogue judges across the nation that have been trying to get in the way of Trump's mass deportation agenda, as we now have Pam Bondi's DOJ announcing complaints being filed, guys, and I'm excited to get into this one, so we're not straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
But what I will tell you is this judge has no right to ask those questions. You have one unelected federal judge trying to control foreign policies, trying to control the Alien Enemies Act, which they have no business presiding over. And there are 261 reasons why Americans are safer now. That's because those people are out of this country. The judge had no business, no power to do what he did. And he came in on an emergency basis on a Saturday with very, very short notice, if any, to our attorney to run in the courtroom. You know, and this has been a pattern with these liberal judges. You just spoke about that. It's been a pattern with what they've been doing. This judge had no right to do that. They're meddling in foreign affairs. They're meddling in our government. And the question should be, why is a judge trying to protect terrorists who have invaded our country over American citizens? You know, TDA is a terrorist organization. They are organized, they have a government structure within them. They are sending money not only throughout this country to each other, but back to Venezuela. They are a terrorist organization, and we are not going to have that in our country. We are going to deport them, and we're going to continue to deport them. We will honor what the court says, but we will appeal. And we will continue to fight terrorists within our country, not going to stop, and we're going to get them out of here.
How did you take this story, this Boasberg story? What did you make of it?
Margot Cleveland at the Federalist did an excellent job reporting this case. You have this D.C. Obama judge, Jeb Boasberg, who told the Judicial Conference, the leaders of the federal judiciary, that there's going to be a constitutional crisis with President Trump, and they need to stop it, which is highly inappropriate that he did that in the first place. And then several days later, on Saturday, March 15th of this year, D.C. Obama Judge Jeb Boasberg opened up his courtroom in D.C. when it was not even his duty dockets that weekend, and ordered the President of the United States to turn around military planes expelling foreign terrorists, a clearly lawless order. Thankfully, these planes did not turn around, and these planes full of terrorists landed in El Salvador. But this was a clearly coordinated, premeditated attack on the presidency by D.C. Obama Judge Jeb Boasberg. Yeah,
and the funny thing is that all of these judges probably see themselves as fighting for the country and for the democracy. They love this kind of phrasing on the left. But how undemocratic is it for some guy that's never been elected to anything, a district judge that was brought in by just one very far left president, to just assume the power of the presidency and tell the president what he can and can't do? They love these nationwide injunctions. And I'm sure that they must feel so marginalized now that they can no longer do it. It must be killing them that the Supreme Court has made that decision.
Yeah, and I had never done this up until this point, but I have called for the impeachment of this judge, Boasberg. What he did was not only extremely illegal, he got slapped down by the Supreme Court after that. It was also extremely dangerous to our national security. He exposed an ongoing military operation to expel the most dangerous terrorist in the Western Hemisphere, MS-13. We saw the security footprints in El Salvador, where they had thousands of law enforcement, intel, and military officials to accept these terrorists. What if these planes turn around? We did not have the same security footprint in America, because who would have thought a radical D.C. Obama judge would have ordered the president to turn around military planes?
Yeah. Imagine the hellhole that this country would become if people like that were allowed to were given carte blanche to do what they want with this country. I mean, it's just terrifying. The ideas that they come up with, the way that they think this country should be run is scary. And they're all over our courts. This is a cancer that is all over our government.
All right, you guys, and just yesterday evening, coming on the heels of that, when we got breaking news coming from our Attorney General Pam Bondi saying today at my direction, the Justice Department filed a misconduct complaint against U.S. District Court Chief Judge James Boasberg for making improper public comments about President Trump and his administration. These comments have undermined the integrity of the judiciary, and we will not stand for that. Wow, oh wow, she is not messing around. We can see folks in the comments saying that these corrupt judges, these radical judges, cannot stand in the way of Trump's agenda, Trump's mission. We can see many folks are freaking out in the comments section because we've been waiting for this. All these are radical, lunatic, leftist judges trying to stand in the way of Trump's agenda, what he campaigned, he ran on and promised to the American people. You cannot thwart the will of the people or try to cosplay as the president of the United States. We did not elect these silly radical judges and to serve as the president, so they don't have that power.
He's the chief judge and he inserted himself. That doesn't happen. The emergency judges 100% of the time get those cases. So he could have been tipped off that this was going to be filed, and while on vacation, he took the case. So again, this speaks to, I think, the very aggressive, unusual, and unprecedented measures that these activist judges are taking to insert themselves. Ultimately, they're not going to be right. The Supreme Court's going to slap them down. But the Judicial Conference, Chief Justice Roberts ought to look at this, and we also, the Article 1 branch, I intend to file legislation to make sure this randomness, which is supposed to happen when these cases are assigned, actually happens. We need more transparency because right now, people don't think it's random at all.
All right, folks, so you know how we get down over here with your boy RetroStef. We're deeply seated in research. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I found an article that briefly touches on this misconduct complaint coming from the DOJ. This article, published by the New York Post, says the DOJ files misconduct complaint against Judge James Boasberg over improper comments about Trump, undermine the integrity of the judiciary. Let's give it a quick look, see exactly what happened and how this went down. This one kicks off by saying the Justice Department has now filed a misconduct complaint against District Judge James Boasberg on Monday, demanding that the jurors be reassigned from a migrant deportation case over improper remarks he allegedly made about President Donald Trump. Then continues on saying the complaint, written by Bondi's Chief of Staff, Chad Mizell, and sent to the Chief Judge of the U.S. Court of Appeals for D.C. Circuit, Sri Srinivasan, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, refers to comments Boasberg allegedly made during a March 11 judicial conference attended by Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts and other jurists. Mizell then continues on saying that while there, Judge Boasberg attempted to improperly influence Chief Justice Roberts and roughly 24 other federal judges by straying from the traditional topics to express his beliefs that Trump's administration would disregard rulings of federal courts and trigger a constitutional crisis. Although his comments would have been inappropriate even if they had some basis, they were even worse because Judge Boasberg had no basis. The Trump administration has always complied with all court orders, nor did Judge Boasberg identify any purported violation of court orders to justify his unprecedented predictions. Boasberg, an appointee of former President Barack Obama, allegedly made the remarks just days before he presided over a case involving Trump's use of the 18th century Alien Enemies Act to swiftly deport suspected migrant gang members to a notorious maximum security prison in El Salvador. Boasberg maintains the Trump administration violated his March 15 order to halt deportation flights to El Salvador. Mizell referenced Boasberg's deportation flight order that has since been overturned by the Supreme Court and argued that within days of those statements, Judge Boasberg began acting on his preconceived belief that the Trump administration would not follow court orders. Taken together, Judge Boasberg's words and deeds violate canons of the Code of Conduct for United States judges and erode public confidence in judicial neutrality and warrant a formal investigation. He also wrote asking that Judge Boasberg be removed from the Alien Enemies Act case to prevent further erosion of public confidence while the investigation proceeds. Bondi argues that Boasberg's alleged comments have undermined the integrity of the judiciary, and we will not stand for that. Trump has previously slammed Boasberg as a grandstander and highly conflicted radical left judge who was attempting to usurp his presidential power, and he is not wrong in saying that. So this is the basis of why they filed this misconduct complaint, but we need to get a little bit deeper into it and see what's going on. What did this judge actually say in that? Because this was a closed door meeting. That's why we're kind of getting bits and pieces, and we got to jump all over the place to find the actual details of what was said. But it sounds like this judge had a preconceived notion on the Trump administration, predetermining that the Trump administration was not going to comply with the court orders. And guys, I've taken to X, did a little bit of searching to see what folks are saying, and they're now calling out Judge Boasberg for his comments made in these closed door meetings. We got Mad 2 Girl on X tweeting out saying Chief Judge James Boasberg did not speak publicly in a broad forum about the Trump administration potentially ignoring court orders. Instead, his remarks occurred during a closed door March 11th meeting of the Judicial Conference of the United States. We got Chad Mizell tweeting out saying that Judge Boasberg first tried to persuade Chief Justice Roberts and other federal judges that the Trump administration would not follow court orders despite having no basis for his beliefs. Then he acted on his baseless belief again and again in litigation over which he was presiding. Judge James Boasberg violated the canons of the Code of Conduct for the United States judges, including the requirement that he promote public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. Today, at the direction of the Attorney General, DOJ filed a judicial misconduct complaint against him. Federal judges often complain about the decline of public trust in the judiciary, but if the judiciary simply ignores improper conduct like Judge Boasberg's, it will have itself to blame when the public stops trusting. I mean, who can you blame but yourself when you're the one causing this lack of trust? I mean, this guy cannot act impartially because he's a partisan hack job. Okay, let's get into the details. I actually found an article that dives a little bit deeper into what the judge said in this closed door meeting. And this piece actually coming from the Federalist. It says exclusive memo reveals DC judges are predisposed against the Trump administration. What would you have here? Let's just dive a little bit deeper. I'm pretty sure this was brief as well. I'll read through it pretty quick. This one kicks off saying that federal judge James Boasberg advised Chief Justice John Roberts and some 24 other judges that his DC colleagues were concerned that the administration would disregard rulings of federal courts leading to a constitutional crisis. That Judge Boasberg and his fellow DC District Court judges would discuss how a named defendant in numerous pending lawsuits might respond to an adverse ruling is shocking. Equally outrageous is those judges' clear disregard for the presumption of regularity, a presumption that requires a court to presume public officials properly discharge their official duties. During the week of March 11, 2025, members of the Judicial Conference met in Washington, D.C. for the first of its 2 regular meetings. As the U.S. Court's webpage explains, the Judicial Conference of the United States is the national policy-making body for federal courts. All right, guys, so now we're getting down to the good stuff. Let's take a look at what was actually said in this closed-door meeting with Justice Roberts and Judge James E. Bozo. In a memorandum, a member of the Judicial Conference summarized the March meeting, including a working breakfast at which Justice Roberts spoke. According to the memorandum, District of Columbia Chief Judge James E. Boasberg next raised his colleagues' concerns that the administration would disregard rulings of federal courts, leading to a constitutional crisis. Chief Justice Roberts then expressed hope that this would not happen, and in turn, no constitutional crisis would materialize. The summary of the working breakfast added that Chief Justice Roberts noted that his interaction with the president have been civil and respectful, such as the president thanking him at the State of the Union address for administering the oath. Donald Trump, however, is not merely the president. He is a defendant in scores of lawsuits, including multiple cases in the D.C. District Court. As such, this conversation did not concern generic concerns of the judiciary, but specific discussions about a litigant currently before the same judges who expressed concern to Chief Justice of the DC District Courts that the Trump administration would disregard the court's orders. All right, so Judge James Boasberg's comments reveal he and his colleagues hold an anti-Trump bias for the Trump administration, who had complied with every court order to date and since then, for that matter. The DC District Court judge's concern also went counter to the normal presumptions courts hold, one that presumes public officials properly discharge their official duties. Apparently, that presumption does not apply to the current president, at least if you are litigating in DC. And what is both troubling and ironic is that only a few days later, Judge James E. Boasberg, in a case in which he completely lacked jurisdiction, as the Supreme Court will later confirm, entered a lawless order commanding the Trump administration to halt removals to El Salvador. So one of the judges concerned about Trump's following the law ignored the law. Nonetheless, Judge Boasberg would later find the Trump administration committed criminal contempt of court by failing to turn around the planes or fly the gang members back to the United States, even though the court's written and unlawful injunction ordered neither. So lots of twists and turns on that journey to get to the bottom of this, but looks like we finally got the full scoop on that activist judge, James Boasberg. We got Senator Eric Schmidt with a very interesting tweet that I want you guys to check out with me. He tweeted out saying it's clear that Judge James Boasberg and his allies on the bench do not care about the rule of law. They care about stopping President Trump and the will of the American people, no matter the cost to the judiciary. And it's so clear as day to see what this guy, James Boasberg, was trying to do. He was simply trying to get in between Trump's agenda and stop anything from coming true, especially when it comes to the mass deportation. We've seen this guy was telling the Trump administration to turn around military planes containing TDA gang members and bring them all back to the United States because that's where they belong in this guy's mind. Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. I believe this is the moment that we've all been waiting for. Pistol popping Pam Bondi finally drawing that line in the sand. Her DOJ filing a complaint of misconduct on these activist judges. We cannot continue to allow them to try to get in the way and thwart the will of the American people. We didn't vote them in. This is not who we elected. I didn't even know who James E. Boasberg was until he was telling President Trump to turn around military planes with gang members, TDA criminal gang members aboard, and bring them back to the United States. Last time I checked, we voted for President Donald Trump. We voted to send these folks back to where they came from, to clean up our country, to secure our southern borders. I'm not sure how much more it's going to take to get these activist judges to wake up and realize that they are not able to cosplay as the president of the United States. We did not vote for them. We did not elect them in. Heck, this guy was just appointed by a former president, Barack Obama. So we definitely didn't vote, and no one voted for this guy. But hopefully this is a good sign, and this wakes these folks up. While these loonies on the left, they realize that they're not allowed to do what they're trying to carry out, to get in the way or disrupt Trump's agenda. It's not going to work, and it's only going to get you into further trouble, guys. But definitely hop in that comment section. This is huge news. Comments are open. I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking on this one. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one week.